If you're an online coach, course creator, or you sell anything online specifically through content, this video right here is going to challenge you on how you've been building your business online. Listen, it's no surprise that cold funnels are getting extremely expensive. DM ads are just getting you very unqualified leads. All of your cold DMs and cold outreach is getting ignored because there's tons and millions of people just doing the same as you. And then there's other people that are telling you to create false scarcity, fake scholarships just to get some cash through the door. Again, it's no surprise that all these tactics are not working. And it feels like even though you're doing everything that all these courses are telling you to do, the more you work, the more inputs that you're doing, it's like the less outputs that you're getting. The good news is there's a better way to build your online coaching business. So you can have more profit, more trust, and it's actually enjoyable as you go past that 50K a month mark. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share 5 shifts that are reshaping the coaching industry and share with you specific things you can implement today to make sure you're becoming an industry leader. Get better high quality leads, better show rates, and easier sales. What I'm about to give you are the same things my clients have been using over the past few years that has helped them generate over 70 million in the online coaching space. But none of this stuff is theory, but things that I've seen from clients doing 10K a month, 50K a month, and even 500K a month. So I'm just going to break it down in this video. I'm going to draw some stuff as well on my iPad, and I'm going to break it down clearly so that 1, you can get something very valuable from this video today. 2, you can start thinking differently in your business. You can start changing the way you teach people, the way you create attention, the way you monetize this attention. That way you can start creating operations in your business. You can actually grow past 100K, start having an enjoyable business that you can actually scale. It doesn't feel like you're trapped because you're trying to do everything differently every single day. The shift number 1 is that the copy-paste coaching doesn't work anymore. I mean, this sounds pretty obvious, but unfortunately right now, it feels like most coaches are just copying the stuff they see online from everywhere else. And every time I meet with other businesses, it just feels like everyone has this like Frankenstein of ideas of, I saw this sales coach implement this thing in their sales coaching program, but then I saw this brand coach do it differently this way. So now it's like, I'm just copying things from everywhere. And now things don't work, and now they don't know why they don't work. They're copying the same 7-day challenge, the same fake scholarships with partial grants and fancy names, the same application funnel, and the same DM me ready. And I promise you that used to work 2 years ago. All the prospects are just scrolling past it for 2 reasons. 1, they're just used to seeing all this stuff online, and 2, there's just more coaches out there than ever before, and everyone's just doing the same thing. So how do you stop becoming a commodity and somebody that has a strong enough brand that people look up to you, not just because you're regurgitating everything else, but because you're actually an industry leader and you have original thoughts and you have original strategies that stand out. Trust me, your prospects, they've clicked the same ads, they've watched the same BSLs, they've heard the same promises all over again. And I don't blame them. Most of the times, all of these people have bought into those programs, they followed those templates, and they still didn't get those results that were promised to them. They assume coaching doesn't work, which is only making your life harder, your life as a B2C founder harder. And here's where it gets worse. They're not comparing your funnel to another coaches anymore. So you're not having the same competitors in the same industry anymore, but now you're bleeding into other spaces. You're getting compared to low-level $97 courses, master classes that people are having live every other month, ChatGPT, and YouTube experts that are just giving a lot of value, like this video right now, hopefully. Your offer doesn't feel like a solution. It feels like a commodity or something that they feel they can stack on top of all the other things they've been trying. Unfortunately, you're competing on price too. Now, this is also mostly driven by the fact that every guru out there is just pushing for more sales. Any other guru out there is pushing you as a business coach to just get more sales, get more sales, get more sales. And the part that matters the most, in my opinion, is getting forgotten, which is actually getting people results. So this entire cycle of more coaches in the industry, creating more supply, and that supply is just very low quality. People are not getting results. People are just getting tired of being sold. You know, they show up, they get a kickoff call, they sit through a course, they get dropped into a Slack channel or a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group. And it just feels like the same thing over and over again with just a different logo. The coaches who are still growing right now aren't just posting more. They're not posting more ads and more angles to try to see what works. They're just smarter. They speak directly to the real problem their client is feeling, the stuff they can't Google their way through. It's stuff really only experts know because they've been in the trenches. So one of the things with this shift is that all the other low-level coaches out there are slowly starting to churn in this industry, which is a good thing if you're an expert, and it's a bad thing if you're not. There's good experts like the clients in my container. They're building delivery systems that create buying, belief, and actually long-term results. Let's actually see how this looks. You want to build a differentiation stack. Okay. You have to start with what you solve. What's your category? Number 2, you have to know exactly how you're solving. In this case, it's what's your unique mechanism. Number 3, you have to be extremely clear on why it matters now for your prospect to have this solution. Now you hear me speak all about the different levels of sophistication, and this applies to this right now. Why it matters for your prospects right now. So what this basically means is, why is your offer important? Why is your offer important right now? You have to understand that sometimes people are not solution aware, they're not problem aware. Sometimes they're very unaware. So who are you speaking to when you're speaking about your offer? And why is this important now? who it's built for. So as you can tell, most of this is having a extremely clear ICP, which is your ideal client persona. If you're not very clear on that, then it's going to be very hard for you to differentiate yourself, because then again, you're just going to be another fitness coach, another relationship coach. What do you solve specifically in your market, in your category? How are you solving this through a unique mechanism? Why this matters in the mind of your consumers, and who specifically is this for? This is how you do a differentiation stack. Shift number 2, which is tactics can't outrun a broken backend. A lot of coaches aren't actually building businesses. The sad part is that they're just surviving tactic after tactic or launch after launch. Last year, it was running follower ads, and then it was doing DM ads, and then that didn't work. So what am I going to try now so I can get better clients, better leads? And it's just becoming a part where like everyone's just trying to survive in this industry. You're in this treadmill of this worked last month, so this has to work this month. The 30-day content sprints, trying new scripts, running a last-minute ad so that you can book 5 more calls because you feel payroll is coming, and that's having you in a chokehold. There's no tracking anything. You're just launching stuff to see what's working. And every month, every first of the month, you're just filled with this anxiety because you don't know when your next client is going to come, or why or how your client is going to come. And that's the problem. You don't have any visibility on your cost per acquisition, your LTV of your clients, or any numbers for what it's worth. And most of the times, you're over relying on one setter who's winging it and low-key wants to churn when the right opportunity arises. And that's a huge problem. The other thing is client delivery is duct-taped, meaning you just have people in Slack or people in WhatsApp, or maybe your only system is a Notion doc that you haven't opened in 6 weeks because you built it and you kind of just forgot about it, and it's just there. This is not your fault, and the reason why this isn't your fault is because it feels like you've been spoon-fed and force-fed the fact that you have to try all these new things rather than doing the boring part of work, which is what I call the boring part of business, building a good backend, building a good foundation of your business. You have to understand that the coaching space isn't dominated by who's posting more, who's more in front of people. It's being dominated by the people who actually know the numbers, lead with clarity from those numbers, and they operate a real company. Most coaching businesses aren't unscalable because they lack leads, which is, by the way, 90% of people who reach out to me for help, they're always saying, I need more leads, I don't have a system for leads. But 99.9% of the times when I meet with them and I start asking the questions, it's not a lead problem. It's the fact that there's just nothing else. And they feel like leads are what's going to fix their business, but in reality, it's just a band-aid to a bigger problem. Yeah, and again, everyone seems to just want more leads. But the problem here is that these companies aren't scalable because the infrastructure that there is in the company doesn't really match the revenue goal these people have, these coaching businesses have, like yourself. The way you fix this is not by hacks, not by content calendars, not by templates, is by understanding what numbers you're tracking, what numbers you should be tracking, what to do to change these numbers. Basically just understanding what you need to track. I'm not going to draw this out because I actually did an entire video showing you everything that you need to track when you're doing your content, what you need to track when you're doing your monetization of this content. So whether you're doing emails, VSLs, bottom of funnel content, YouTube videos, etc. I did an entire video, so I'll just should be here somewhere in a card somewhere, or I'll just put it down below as well. Number 3 is that performative coaching is losing its grip, and I'm actually happy that this is happening. There's a growing gap between how some coaches show up in the online space and what their business actually is like. Not looks like, it's like. That's a mistake I need to fix. So you see this all the time, and it's like we're being force-fed this fake idea of this fake lifestyle. You're just scrolling through Instagram and you see big lifestyle posts, material wins, curated screenshots that say a lot without really saying anything, because you're being forced to feel that you're being left behind. Trust me when I say this, it's not true. This stuff used to work for a while, where looking successful created this perception of trust, but then we're seeing that buyers are getting way smarter. What I mean by saying this is that don't copy what other people are doing just because you feel like you have to look like you're a big shot in the industry. Trust me, I forget who said this quote, but it says, you should be afraid of I'm butchering this quote. Don't give attention to somebody that's wearing the suit. Be very careful of the person who's wearing the t-shirt. A lot of people out there are pretending to have this big shot business. And I'm not trying to call anyone out, but I have met with people who have big followings, who are portraying, these trips to Europe, doing all this stuff. And they reach out for me for help. And when I get into the calls, I ask for transparency all the time. What are your numbers? Where are you struggling? All this stuff. And I see it that these people have been trapped in the same income, in the same stuff for years, but they have to keep pretending like they've been just growing over and over again, trying to sell this image that they're very successful. Problem here being is that you're comparing yourself to somebody that's not being true to themselves. So you're comparing yourself to somebody who's not really the success that you think that they have. And this used to work for when you're trying to just get more leads and more clients. So this is where the industry leaders are starting to separate. Their businesses are less visible but more stable, meaning those who are really experts, you don't see them boasting around. You don't see them with a huge following count. They show how they think, they show themselves as experts and also proof. But because of that, over time, their content builds trust, which is essentially what people need before they buy. So the takeaway for shift number 3 is creating an asset. And this goes with content, okay? So you need to create an asset library of showing BTS, but strategically, meaning you're showing kind of like your process overviews, the frameworks that you use with your clients to give them results. The other good thing that you have to do is why prospects are failing. So the reason why the stuff that they're doing is not working. When you answer why rather than what or how, you're actually leading them to believe that everything they've been doing or everything that they've tried to do is wrong. So you're explaining the reasons why these things are wrong. This is called belief re-education. And lastly, case studies. This is what I teach my clients all the time. You don't just want to post wins and testimonials. Well, those are great. The big pitfall that I see here that a lot of people don't do is that they don't give me context. When you're sharing case studies, show me what happened, why that happened, and that worked as compared to what they used to do before they got the win. Now for shift number 4, high ticket isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. I'm just gonna kind of riff this off a little bit because this one's really grinds my gears. Most coaches assume that just raising the price means adding more to their program. They're adding more calls, more modules, more mindset stuff, more like woo-woo things. And you don't raise your price by adding more fluff to your program. You raise your price because you're improving the outcomes. People who come through your program just get the results that you promised them. You don't raise the price just because you're stacking on features. So I've seen this happen all the time where like it starts with one module, then it turns into 8. One weekly call becomes 3 or 4, and like you're sending emails every morning to see how they are. You're hand-holding everyone. Slack becomes Voxer, becomes WhatsApp, and then becomes bonus templates, mindset coaching, team support. Then a program, you start to add all these things thinking, if I make my program look valuable by adding all these bells and whistles, people are gonna start buying into me. But then delivery becomes super heavy, fulfillment becomes inconsistent, it's tough. You have to add all these inconsistencies, you probably have to hire somebody else. Clients begin to they get lost. These are things that you might think make your offer look premium, but it's essentially what's a nightmare to run in the backend. The reality is your clients don't need more, they just need a clearer path to the result that they came here for. You don't have to make things more complicated than they are. Something that doesn't create this codependency on you all the time. Yes, you're a coach, but it doesn't mean you have to be with them all the time. You gotta teach them the things that they need, teach them how to fish, don't give them the fish basically. So a very quick overview of this is you have to do two things. One is a friction audit, and the second one is a guarantee clients results, which is the system I teach all my clients personally inside my program, because I want to make sure you're almost guaranteeing that everyone that comes to your coaching container gets the results that they want. To do the friction audit, you're going to do a couple things. You're going to do 3 things. And by the way, if you want this document, just send me a DM on Instagram and I'll send it over, okay? So what is slowing the client down? So do they have to unlock a module before they go to the next one? Or do they have to do homework before they go to the next one? What's holding them down? What requires you or your team to repeat the same information over and over again? And number 3 is what could be replaced with one tool or one aspect so that you don't have to be hand-holding people through results. So the one thing here is how can you simplify the outcome? And the thing I do with my clients when it comes to guaranteed clients results, this is for another video, it's very heavy, is you gotta have the outcome, which is this thing, and then different ways or different pillars to get to the outcome. Vehicle 1, vehicle 2, vehicle 3. Let's just say you have a fitness offer. You're teaching people how to lose fat. Vehicle 1 would be nutrition, vehicle 2 would be training, vehicle 3 would be mindset. What are the specific things in nutrition that you can give a client that once they're done with those things, you're most likely just kind of like the nutrition aspect for them. Same with training. What are the 3 things a client can do and check the boxes on so that once they complete those 3 things, you as a coach know that more than likely they're going to succeed with training, and same with mindset and so on. So that's the shift with number 4. In 2023, just showing up consistently was enough to build trust. You could post a few client wins, share some behind the scenes content, and that alone made you credible because you were one of the few people actually doing it. Now, obviously, you've seen this. The space is flooded. Everyone's sharing tips. Everyone's showing up on Reels. Everyone's posting a lot of content. Everyone's showing receipts. Some of them fake, but still. Despite all of that, very few coaches are actually positioned as the obvious choice because most of the other people, and hopefully this is not you, is they're not trusted, they're not helpful, they're not different. They create content, but it doesn't lead anywhere. It's just fluffy content. So what's working right now is something I call engineer authority. This comes from something I call subconscious engineering. So it's not trying to earn the respect with repetition or posting content every day for years, and then you can say, I posted a lot of content for many years, and that doesn't really work. It's how you structure your content around belief and insight, not surface level tips, is that you control perception from the first touch point so that the sale feels like a decision, not a pitch. So that whenever they come to a call with you, it feels like it's just an onboarding call. So before you post any other piece of content, step back and ask yourself, what are the actual pains that I'm solving? So in order for you to have this authority, obviously you have to have the expertise, you have to have the street cred, you have to have been doing this for a while. But you want to audit these 3 things when it comes to shift number 5. Is your expertise anchored in frameworks, not just tips and tactics, but actual things that you've done throughout the entire time of you doing this, that you actually develop frameworks. So for example, I've developed a couple different frameworks. The one that I just talked about is the Guarantee Clients Results framework, that once my clients implement in their coaching business, most of the clients are getting more results now because they just have to follow a step-by-step process that once they do it, they're gonna get results. It's your results based on frameworks and not just tactics or you guessing. Does your content create lift shifts, not just educations and tips and not just, another coach regurgitating tips? And number 3, last one, does your brand give out confidence? So when you're really good at this, you start to engineer in their subconscious that you're the only one that's gonna take them to the place they wanna get to. I have other videos talking about the different levels of sophistication and how you want to do content based on those sophistication levels, because as you do that, you position yourself as the authority in the market. That's what you want to do. It's a slower burn, it takes a little bit more time, but once you have a good positioning in social media where it's not just tips, but you're actually giving me your opinion, you're actually showing me how you solve problems, why these problems are important, all those things, you start to become this credible person. Now, going back to the document, you have to understand that all of this stuff, this is the stuff that my clients are doing right now to hit record-breaking months, 200K in 45 days, starting offers from zero, like literally zero, and hitting 40K, not through just posting more content, but with precision in their offer and how they speak in their content, how they write their copy, and how we position their B2C company so that they are not just another commodity in a very saturated market. So this next video that's on the screen right now is going to show you exactly how to do that. But for now, if you want this document, just send me a DM and I'll send it to you. And right in and below this in the description, I'll show you some of the things that might help you as well. But for now, I'll see you on the next one.